Radar, this is the truth, baby, live. You know how we do it, Google Hangout. We're talking about today's topic is going to be about that New York City hip hop, the state of New York City hip hop. You know, New York, we birthed this little thing called hip hop. Over the years, there's been a lot of discussion about our place in the game. Are we still defining the culture? Are we still the driving force of culture? And if we're not, why aren't we anymore? Like, is it fulfilling enough? Is our space in the game where it needs to be? You know, an artist named Maino just dropped a controversial record called What Happened with Jadakiss. He's going to join us right now. I think he's coming in. Maino doing the entrance all smooth. B-boyed out. Hey, live, my G. What's good, baby? You good?
What's going on, baby?
Shaking things up like you always do, Maino.
Yeah, we getting to it.
What's up, Maino?
Good to have you, brother.
What's going on?
I just was introing everybody, just letting them know what we talk about the New York hip-hop scene. The song you put out, What Happened? Shaking the game
up.
Was
that Combat Jack?
You and Jack.
Yeah, what up? Salute.
Let's actually introduce everybody, man. We're going to talk about, Maino's here to talk about his record. He's here to observe what you guys have to say also about the state of New York hip-hop. You know, we're looking for the solutions, the problems, answers, the questions, the answers, everything. Tell him, Maino.
And none of y'all do not piss Elliott off.
Nah, man. I'm a good dude. I'm a nice guy, man. I'm like you. I wear glasses now. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, we nice.
We're nice now, man. You know, it's from another era. Yeah. So, Alexandra, you're here, right? Alexandra, can you hear me? She now on? Alexandra. Okay, let's skip her.
She just
Daniel there.
I'm here.
Daniel, tell a little bit about yourself, man. Where you from?
I am from the Bronx and the Upper West Side. I am a New Yorker through and through, and I am a journalist, entertainment reporter for Examiner.com. I cover anything from hip-hop to recently New York Comic Con 2013. So that's my thing.
You the native New Yorker like myself, like
yes.
you know too, right?
Yes.
What's your overall, get a quick little introduction. What's your overall thoughts of the state of New York City hip hop right now?
Oh wow, believe it or not, look at me. You would say I'm not of that age of the golden era that I grew up on, but I did, and you know how I feel is, I mean, a little. Some things are a little overly romanticized, and I want to get that point to Maino. Does he feel that some things are overly romanticized? Because I think people hold on a little too much into the past of what hip-hop was before. And it's not nothing wrong with reflecting on what's the past. I'm a big, Run DMC, Diamond D head, you name it, you throw the name out, I'm pretty much a fan of it. To me, there's always going to be good music and bad music, good hip-hop or bad rap or good rap, Right now, there's only, to me, a handful of good rappers. One of them is sitting right in the screen in front of me. You got guys like Macklemore, you guys got like Blue Scholars and stuff like that, but that's a whole another section of the country. As far as New York, I just think, a little bit, New York is a little bit slacking. It is, in a way. They're not, something's missing, and we got to find out what it is. Okay. And I guess that's why we're here.
Yes, we're going to do it, man. Jason Rollins, you here?
Yes, I am. How's it going, Elliott?
I'm good, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Introduce yourself real quick and give me your feelings on the state of New York City hip-hop.
All right, my name is Jason. I'm from the Bronx originally, live in Harlem now. My shirt says Brooklyn in Russian, repping the Mets. So yeah, I'm a New York City kid, born and raised. Right. What I feel about hip hop, well, real quick, also I'm a recent MBA graduate, trying to make a transition into marketing and branding. So I'm really trying to up my social media game right now and get involved in that. But
making the right move right now, baby.
I know, I'm trying. I feel like I'm in a good space right now. But I feel like the innate issue with the city itself is that everybody's selling something in New York, and all the buyers claim that they could get a better deal elsewhere, right? So it's really hard in New York in general, considering that there's so many people that are, like I said, there's a lot of people pushing, but there's nobody buying. And on top of that, it's not that the music isn't hot, but I feel like a lot of the music that's being made is more so talking to my generation, my era from like the mid-'90s. And there's nothing bad with that, but that group doesn't have the marketing power, doesn't have the buying power to dictate where the music goes. So I think it's really a matter of not necessarily making music that sounds like everything else, but really making music that, has some heart in it, has some message behind it. I know, Maino, you're a big person in terms of messaging in your music, but really, New York getting back to supporting itself, radio supporting artists. My brother lived in Atlanta for a couple of years, and he was telling me all about Future, Cash Out, all these people before, we heard about them up here. But, we don't have that outlet, it seems like, in New York for artists to really express themselves. And the people don't really want to support it. They just want to be spoon-fed things nowadays. So that's kind of it.
I hear you, man. Everybody's passionate. Alexandra, we finally got you? Can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Hi. Introduce yourself real quick and give me your opening thoughts about the state of New York City hip hop.
Hey, you guys, it's Alexandra Estevez reporting to you live and direct from
You outdoors now. You got to get
you know,
fuck
but
that in the
Behind the desk outside.
to jump in right into the subject, I think that a lot of people make the same valid points, which we keep hearing. But what I don't hear enough of people saying is that we're still in a recovery stage as far as New York. You know, we're still in a stage where people haven't forgotten the shit that went down with Dame Dash and Jay-Z. People haven't forgotten that Dipset is no longer a crew. So when you come from a place like New York City, where your creativity is not even nurtured in a right way, I think really that's what's missing in hip-hop and in the state in general.
Okay, that's interesting. We're gonna get back to that. So you're saying like the era, those classic eras, man. We had a Rockefeller era, we had a G-Unit era, a Dipset era,
Right.
Murder Inc. era. So maybe that once those heavyweight
We don't have
movements
that.
died down, it hasn't really stepped
Rough
back where it needs to
Riders,
be. Rough Riders, definitely. We got the gentleman everybody knows, man. Combat Jack has blessed us with his presence. Jack,
Yo, what's
Reggie,
up? What's going
baby?
on? What's happening, Elliott? How y'all feeling, man?
Good,
This
good,
my
man.
man.
Yo, what's up,
right
Maino?
That's
What's up,
my
Maino?
guy. What's up,
The
what?
fight is fixed, man.
Yeah.
Jack,
Right.
give us a little bit of your opening thoughts about the whole situation in the state of New York City hip hop.
You know, man, I mean, you got to look at the times. And
With the Yankee hat on.
that's right. I have to represent Brooklyn in the building. You know, I'm going to let y'all know I'm real impartial. I mean, I'm very partial. I'm sorry, I'm partial, man. The best. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right, the best MCs on this planet, man, in Brooklyn, New York.
Oh,
That's
he's
how I
hurting
feel.
my Queen's heart. He's hurting
There
my
you go.
Queen's heart.
So,
Hurting my Queen's heart, man.
But you got to look at the you know, at the terrain, man, and the terrain in which, you know, hip hop was birthed in New York, as well as some of the greatest periods. It was a different time, man. It was like economically it was different, socially it was different. I just read this amazing article by David Byrne of the Talking Heads about how he just left New York because he felt that, you know, New York right now is a playground for the 1%. And when you have this playground where, you know, the wealthy thrive and there's not that much struggle like we know it, it sucks the creativity out of the, you know, out of the environment. So instead of being on this continued fertile ground that creates, you know, new types of creativity, we're trying to, I think New York is trying to bring itself back on the soil that doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't mean to get too esoteric, but it's just different. It's just a different place, man. You back then, man, you could walk in the streets of the Village, you know what I'm saying, or 42nd Street or Uptown, and just see creativity. But right now, man, it's more like commerce. You know what I mean?
You're saying the music's almost reflected by how the culture of New York has changed through the years.
Or that and the culture, the hip hop culture, hasn't necessarily adapted to the background that is New York right now.
Right.
Okay, all right. Let's introduce the final person, Preezy. Preezy, can you hear us? Oh, I think
Yeah, what's up?
What's up, homie? Introduce yourself real quick and give me your opening thoughts on the state of New York City hip hop.
Yo, what's up, people? I'm Preezy the Kid.
Yeah.
I'm a writer for Smoking Section.
Okay.
And my overall thoughts is that like cats are just lost. It's like all around, from like the top to the bottom. You know, similar to what Maino said on the record. That's a hot record, by the way. But you know, cats is just lost. I'll get more into it as the discussion goes on. But I just think, you know, from the top to the bottom, cats lost their way. You know, and there's a lot of fuckery going on. That just is what it is, you know. So we'll get into that later.
You're not happy, brother. You're not happy at all.
Nah, you know, it's just, you know, it's like bright spots, but you know, overall, nah.
Okay. Well, obviously that's a great segue to you, man. You seem like you're not happy. For people that haven't really fully dissected the record, like talk about making that record with Jadakiss. What happened and like what was your motivation? You obviously wanted to spark dialogue. Like how did it come together?
You know, a lot of it had to do with after the whole Control verse with Kendrick. And I'm gonna be honest, like when that happened, I kind of almost was like, that's good that happened. That's good for us, because I felt like it wasn't so much about what Kendrick said for me. It was about what made him be able to say that. Why was he so comfortable saying it?
Comfortable.
I felt like we needed to look in the mirror as a city and try to understand why dudes feel like they could say that. You understand? Like nobody would have said that about Chicago. Nobody would have said that about Detroit. No New York artist would say that about LA because the precedent is already set. You know. So I felt like
So even if it was just wordplay, in a sense, you still look at it as a statement, no matter what.
It's definitely, but it was dope.
Yeah.
Right, it was dope though, and it was dope. I loved it. I wasn't offended. Like, yo, man, what the fuck you talking about? I wanted to look at why. Like, you understand? Because in life, most of the things that happen to us in life, a lot of times it's a reflection of what we did or we didn't do. You know what I mean? Either directly or indirectly. You understand? So I felt like this was that type of reflection. New York as a whole. And when I wanted to make the record, I didn't want to place blame on one particular area. Oh, it's just radio. You know, because from depending on who you talking to, you're going to get a different perspective. You talk to a DJ, he going to say it's the artist's fault. You talk to an artist, he going to say it's the DJ's fault. So I said, listen, it's everybody's fault.
Radio's going to say it's the internet's job.
Right.
It's say it's the radio's
exactly.
job. Yeah.
Radio say, oh, the bloggers, and this and the bloggers going to say, well, it's the labels. And I felt like, this is my house, right? Let's clean up the house. Let's put it on the table. Let's first acknowledge that there is a problem, because you got a percentage of people that act like there's not. Oh man, they just need to make good music. That's not just the answer. It's no one answer for this question, because the problem is so broad. It's the culture that is different. It's the fans that are different. The music that is different. The times has changed. The environment has changed. The skyline in New York is different. So all that plays a part. When I made this record, I was talking to not only the DJs and the artists, but I'm talking to the fans, I'm talking to the club promoters, the club owners, I'm talking to the street as a whole. It's not just radio, and it's not only radio. You understand? So it's more about us as a city, period.
It's almost like we don't have our sound anymore, type of thing. Because I mean, when people say New York hip hop, you know, you guys can jump in whenever you want to. Also,
right.
You know, we think of that '90s era. We think of the boom bap.
Right.
We
We
think
can't
of
get
that
that
kind of
back,
thing.
though.
Yeah,
That's over.
Yeah,
It's not so. For me, it's not so much about the sound, right? It's about the support. Because let's look at facts. Facts say that we're not really breaking new music here.
We're not.
95% of the music that's played here is music that is already received from other places. This is facts. This is my feeling.
It's a fact.
You understand? So,
No, come on.
It's a fact. It's a fact. And I agree with Maino and what he's saying. I had this similar conversation with Pete Rock about 2 months ago, and he echoed the same thing Maino said. He had no problem with it, and it's kind of like a reflective, like, where is it coming from? Like, why? The whole why thing. And that's a good thing, and it's a good kick in the ass that hip-hop needs. Hip-hop is at the point of, I hate to be so analytical, hip-hop is at the point where rock and roll was 20 years ago, where, you know, grunge came in and wiped out every hair metal band known to man, and they couldn't get a deal after that. Hip-hop is at the same state of mind, same point, and that's how I feel. It's almost kind of too much beer and lifestyle music, which is kind of okay, but if you saturate it too much with people, people are going to get sick of it. People are looking for something different, unique, and fresh, and I think that's what Maino is trying to get at.
But isn't it also song driven too? Like, cause I mean, you made a record like High Haters. Like,
Okay.
you know how, to me, I tell a lot of artists, you know, sometimes, especially the younger artists, they get so caught up in, this is my movement and this is my fourth mixtape, and I do shows and 300 people know all my lyrics. But like, you know, what's the record? Like, what's the record? What's that song that like when you made High Haters and it had the classic feel to it by the sample? I mean, a record like that opens the door for you, and then it defines culture.
And it did.
So a New York artist making those records, like, because ASAP Ferg made a record like Work, and that took off. Like, are they making the content that deserves more exposure, like that we're not breaking?
Right. The thing is this,
and I want to get your feelings on that too.
Some people feel like, I just want to throw this out there. I'm not into, oh, we got to take it back to a particular sound, the boom. That's not my mission. That's not my argument. I want to create this dialogue and this platform to speak about it. Now, to answer your question is, when you go in the studio, you make good music, you make great music, depending on who you're talking to. When I made High Hater, certain DJs told me that wasn't it. That's not it. That's a mixture record. That's not it.
It's not a national.
It's not right. People told me it wasn't. It's this. It's that. Yeah. It's cool. It's hard.
It's a little club record.
Right. So you never know what it is when you have it. Now the difference between putting out a record and the difference between having a machine behind you to help make that work, because let's keep it real. When records is put out and they going on a national scale, it's because There's a building behind it. It's a budget allocated for it. It's a machine working to make these things happen. It's not just organically working. If I didn't have the machine like of Atlantic Records behind me with that, then that record wouldn't have did what it did. For any of my records. My records popped because the situation that I was in, it wasn't just an organic feel. So, I mean, depending on a person's situation, that may be a bad thing or good thing, because I don't think records is breaking organically. Not here.
So it's even more.
Maino, for that though, don't you feel as though like that record really worked in New York? You know, it really took hold in New York to the point where the building had to recognize.
No. That record was put out through the building. It wasn't. They didn't get on it later. It was a plan. What I'm saying to you, it was a plan. Like the video was shot before the record even came out. You see, it was a plan. There was money already for it. It was already a budget. The video was done. It was a plan. It was, we gonna make this record pop. If I had put that record out on my own, it wouldn't have did what it did.
So it's part of the problem that a New York artist, they're not prioritized as much. Like a New York rapper comes into an A&R's office, like you're not in a rush to sign a New York rapper right now.
Right, because the economics of the situation says that New York artists may not be able to sell as much. So for a record company standpoint, it's like, why am I take a chance on this dude when New York artists don't sell? First of all, hip hop is not selling the way it is, where it used to anyway. Okay, so if a New York artist has a record that he may seem like, or he may feel like it's a dope record, he needs to be in a good standing with his record company. You understand? So that that power and that muscle and that plan can go into effect. And it can help it, because it's not just going to happen just because it's just a good record.
Yeah. But you know what? You got to look also at how the terrain changed. Like when New York was on top, New York was a dominant force because we were creating that shit. We were the innovators.
We built the industry. We built it.
Yeah. We built the industry, but the market opened up. It moved out to the west. It moved out to the Midwest. And moved to the south. Now, when you like we're all New Yorkers here, right?
Yes.
Yes.
When you travel out of New York City, the minute you hit Jersey, it's a different thing. And the further you go from New York, it becomes a different thing. So the New York sound, now that the market is opened up, New York sound is just a drop in the bucket in terms of what's going on right now. We have no sound. But even when you look at what resonates, I mean, it's a big world out there, and our sound, whatever it is completely different from what's out there. The minute you go outside of New York, it's more of a, it's not, I don't want to say it's the same sound, but it's a consistent sound. It's a trap sound. It's a bounce sound. Like, so New York has become like the ant right now in terms of like this giant that you call hip hop.
Oh, that's very true.
What do you think?
With all those doors opening, also what changes is the art of marketing. The way we used to market records back in the day is totally different from now. Back in the day, I was happy to see Bun B and Trill opening up their trunks, passing out demos. We don't have that anymore. Now all we got to do is upload a song on the internet, and I'm the next Soulja Boy hit sensation. Without managers, without the proper people around me to cultivate this talent, now you can be talentless and still make it in hip hop.
Oh, that is so true. I mean, the internet has changed everything clear across the board. We kind of should have seen it coming from the get-go with Napster and everything, and it made some things accessible. And it makes things harder for what I do as a journalist, as a writer as well. But that's a separate topic. But they go, in a way, they go hand in hand. And I couldn't agree with Alexandra more with that.
I just feel also, too, the artists. We have the artists who can't even put out a record without the shit getting leaked. How does that make the artist?
Or sometimes they leak it on purpose, though. Sometimes they leak it on purpose.
There are some artists that do
say.
But I mean, going back, and this is, when I sat down with Ebro last year on Hot 97, like he broke it down. He was like, yo, right now shit is centralized. And everything, like every artist, regardless if they like it or not, it's an algorithm, and it comes down to how you resonate on that whatever machine they have. You know what I'm saying? So once again, if you're a typical New York artist, your shit is not resonating countrywide, and they want to be able to make sure that your shit is marketable countrywide, not just regionally.
Right.
Oh yeah.
We're algorithms.
Breezy, how do you feel?
Man, I just feel that like we don't have like stores like back in the day. I just think that the talent pool is small. Cause you had like in the 90s, like in the mid 90s, you had like the West Coast sound that like that came into vogue at that moment, but it's like still like New York still bounced back around 96, 98. So we can't really blame it on like other people. I think it comes to us too, you know, in a sense. And then on the other hand, you got like people I think that are the gatekeepers that like control this. That's like that don't really know what's going on. So they opt for them out of town sounds because it's a money business. Like back in the day, it wasn't like Billboard. Like people wasn't really focusing on first week sales and this and that. It was really, was your music good? You can have like a mid-level artist still making noise. You feel me? Not going platinum, you know, and all this, but they were still making noise. And it's like nowadays, it's just like I just think that the talent pool is small. I think it's a combination of things.
Speaking of talent pool, like sometimes we used to always be this myth that, you know, Southern hip hop started flourishing in the mid 2000s, right? And it said the South is more unified than New York.
Right.
New York was at odds, you know, certain rappers you weren't getting along with.
Right.
You know, now it seems way more unified now.
Right.
Like, does that help the cause at all? I mean, why was it important to get Jadakiss on that record? And what was that phone call like? And like, how did he approach the track in a way that you felt was be distinctive from yours?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you though, that's like 2 questions. But
I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, definitely. I need you. Like you the man to do this. Couldn't be better. Now check this out. Unity is key because part of the perception about New York is that we not unified.
Yeah,
that we not unified.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like when you other places, West,
even now,
South,
still, even
now. Listen, I did a song called "Keep It Rockin'." I had Jada, Swiss Beats, Jim Jones, and Joel Ortiz. We shot the video. Everybody was there. Lloyd Banks,
all in one day.
Joel Santana. Everybody, every artist.
Their crews.
Everybody was there in one club. And I ran into Chameleon there in L.A. and he said to me, "Yo, man, how you do that, man? You get all y'all together like that, man, at one time for one video." And I said, "Man, damn, you know what? It amazed him because he wasn't used to seeing that. See, the perception is that we don't really get along, that we don't have unity. The perception is that we're not really making good music. You understand? So when you constantly feed the perception that we're not making good music, you niggas need to get back to making hot music. When you start feeding that perception, the people, even the people here, they take that in, and it's not special. So when they see a new Jada record or they see a new Maino record, it's like it's whatever. They looking for somebody else to like it first.
Yeah,
very true.
Before we like it, you understand? And the reason I got Jada on there is because Jada, me saying this is like, okay, we hear you, Maino, but to go grab a dude like Kiss is different because this is a dude that stand the test of time. This is a dude that was back to back with Big and Hov when he was coming up. So this is a dude that's worldly respected by new artists and old artists. You understand? Mid-level, whatever. This is an artist that's well respected. So to get him and for him to express himself on there the way he did is like that was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
You know,
what was that phone call communication like? Did he see the vision right away?
Yo, we talked. We see the funny thing about this is and what is key is that I wanted to make this record and put this out there so people could be honest about, and let's stop acting like there's not a problem. Let's be honest with each other. This ain't about pointing blame at anybody. But this conversation that we having, I've had this conversation with every artist from the city. Mm-hmm. Every artist from this city, I've had this conversation with in front of the club, at the studio, or in the street, everywhere. Me and Kiss had this conversation, and you know what he told me? He said, "I'm tired of this shit.
Tired of even talking about it." Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? We gonna work, man. And then the control thing, no, that came first, and then it just was a snowball effect.
The timing became right.
And I feel like me expressing myself is what hip hop is. Hip hop artists since the beginning of time always express themselves either on a political front or a personal front or whatever is going on around them. This is what's going on around me. This is hip hop.
Yeah. Speaking of hip hop, I mean, obviously, you want to come in, Jack?
I got to look at it like this also, man. There was a time when we was coming up where our favorite MCs, they were like superheroes. I mean, cats had their own personalities, cats had their gimmicks, you know what I'm saying, on top of the skills. Mm-hmm. And it's like the game is so saturated right now. Like a FedEx guy come and drop my shit off and be like, "Oh, you work in the music game? I rap." Like everybody raps. You know what I'm saying? But nobody's developing gimmick, and I don't mean gimmick in a negative sense. This is an entertainment industry, and we don't want to see regular niggas rapping. We want to see superstars, and because I think the game is so saturated that cats are not really focusing on that entertainment value. They might be focusing on their raps, but where's that bigger than that larger than life gimmick?
Oh, I agree with Captain. I agree with him. I agree with him with that because you had the Big Daddy Kanes, and to go with the whole what Maino was talking about, Cruz not really hating Cruz. I remember 20 years ago, Flavor Unit, Queen Latifah and her gang with Naughty by Nature, and then you had Native Tongues movement. You had all that. So the whole thing, there was a unity that people didn't really speak of and didn't really see, but aren't seeing now, but they saw back then. And what Captain just said is perfect. It definitely is.
What about the, I was gonna say, bringing up the new generation, like how much of it is also, I mean, obviously a veteran, like you're a veteran now at this point, Jada, is like you earn your stripes, like you're gonna continue to have your place in the culture, but how much responsibility should we put on the new generations, the A$AP Rocky, even French, the guys that have emerged recently, how much is their responsibility to help lead the culture? Because they are from New York City. How much responsibility do they have to bear?
Well, I mean, it depends on the person. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be sitting here waving this flag at first. You understand? It's just it got to the point where I just feel like something needs to be said, because if we keep going around the problem, it's never going to be fixed. It's not something that is going to be fixed in a day. It won't be fixed tomorrow. Because it's just a lot of different variables. So it depends on the person. Some people may not just even care.
Well, I think everybody here cares.
Yeah.
I think artists are very responsible.
I still remember a time where KRS said it best, and he said, MC, use words to uplift the people. I mean, now we still have artists that do that, but we also are still injured from the shit that has happened in hip-hop that we haven't been able to recover. I don't think we have been able to recover from 50 Cent making sure he blackballed anybody that worked with Ja Rule. That speaks volume. Are we ready for another 50 Cent in hip-hop? Are we ready for another monster like that? When yet we still haven't even healed from shit like that happened.
No, but that's the competition. I said monster, the competitive monster.
There's always going to be competition in hip-hop.
You can't blame it on 50. You can't blame it on 50.
No, but I mean, you can only put part of the blame on him, right? Because New York hasn't really recovered post 50. Like that's the separation really happened.
People haven't recovered post 50, post Dipset, post the Rockefeller. Like people
post
haven't recovered
9/11.
I'll take it further back.
As you said, Combat. Like after 9/11, that's really when the sound expanded, right? That's when it became global. Like New York, like in comparison to the rest of the globe or to the rest of the nation, even. So like it's definitely a responsibility though for the few that are getting on. Like why is it that like a Meek or a Khaled could get French, Nicki, all these people on the record, but New York people can't come together, and put somebody else on the record. I like how Ferg, for example, went back and got Onyx, on his album. Like, why is it that there aren't more New York up-and-comers reaching back out and saying, like, yo, these cats are still hot, these cats can still do it. We shouldn't have an expiration value on our hip-hop.
That's true.
Those are people that are tapping into their creativity. Let's bring that word up again.
Yeah,
creativity. These are people that are tapping into the creativity and not being afraid to do it. It
Content is gone.
A soundbite and a couple of verses on a song for it to not to sound cliche of the natural hip hop state that we're in right now. It takes a little bit more than that. And someone like Ferg, someone like the A$AP movement in general, because when I look at A$AP, I don't only think of Rocky. In my opinion, I think other people are talented than Rocky in that group. But they all come together and support each other creatively.
Yeah.
Creatively, they all come together and say, okay, they don't shit on each other's records. They support. They're not here like, well, I'm not fucking with you or putting personal business. I think it has a lot to do with personal issues that people have with one another. And it also has to do with us as fans. People forgot how to be fans anymore.
Ooh, that's a good one, Alexandra. Yes. I mean, people have forgot to be fans. They don't support, just like 20 years ago, again, I'll go back to that. You had like again, I'll mention Flavor Unit and all those other crews.
Like Flavor Unit, man.
Listen.
You know Shaquille, don't you? All right,
but these groups supported one another. That's what Alex is getting at. That's, I think, part and parcel of part of the problem. You know.
What about how much responsibility also do maybe we hold? Like, I mean, let's say we don't want, like you said, we're not necessarily trying to create the new premiere, the new boom bap type sound. But how much responsibility do the producers have? Because I know you had said it earlier, I think in one of the interviews I saw, where you talking about like artists obviously feel like, you know, French Montana may make a pop that because that record's gonna fit the format of the other records DJs are spinning. Right. You know, I'm playing a Ross record, has that sound. Like you want to be in the mix. Like New York artists, like the DJs, the BPMs. How much, if the trap sound is what's winning now, or like an EDM or upbeat sound, you know, that may not be to people think is a traditional New York sound. Like how much responsibility is it like a young hot New York producer to help build a new sound that also represents our city?
It's hard because you know what happens. It's like,
I want to get your guys' opinion on it too.
People, in order to do that, you got to be brave, man. To go against the grain, yet to try to do something different, that takes a lot of heart and balls. So, I mean, it's hard not to fall into that, you know, because when that sound is winning, and that's the sound that it seems like is the only lane. Look, I like that sound. I make records like that. It's fun. I'm in the club. People know. Anybody know me? I'm in every club in New York City, United States. All right.
Follow the sparklers.
Exactly. I'm in the clubs. I like that sound. I fuck with them artists.
You stood on the couch or two?
For real, yeah. But the thing is, it just seems like
it's one dimensional.
In order to compete, it feels like that's the only sound to make. I can't come with my pain. I can't come and talk about my life.
You said I can't come with my pain.
I can't come talk about these other things because when I give it to the DJ, he said, "Yo, man, this is a dope record, but it don't really fit. I can't really make it. It don't fit nowhere." It's like if you don't give them a record that they can play in the club or the strip club, then it's like we can't compete. So this is why New York artists and the producers are doing this sound. So I don't blame them. You understand? It's just that everybody's going one way. In hip hop, you had different. You had different songs. It seems like there's no more room for Dear Mama or Keep Your Head Up or if I Rule the World. It's no more type of records. It seems like it's just one dimensional, one lane. I like the lane. I got records like that. But I want to be able to make that and this and that. I want to be able to give you my pain and tell you about my life. I want to be able to tell you about my girl. I want to give you a story. I want to give you different me's.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head.
He hit it on the head. He hit it on the head.
Yeah. Because it's become so.
Well, let Daniel go first. Daniel.
Maino hit it right on the head. I mean, hip hop from the start was supposed to went against the grain. The minute Grand Wizard Theodore, you know, made that accidental scratch,
Theodore,
it went against the grain, and it spread from Pete Rock to Premier to everyone. And I think, like Maino said, a lot of people just don't have balls, and some DJs don't want to be real DJs and don't want to real produce. Like he's coming up to him in a club saying, "Oh, I like your stuff," but it's not going to fit in that strip club mode. There's party music, and then there's hip hop. There's two different animals, and he wants to go in this whole different lane and section, and that one lane, the mainstream lane or whatever you want to call it, plus do other stuff. And God bless him for that. You know, he should have the balls to do that, just like everyone else throughout hip hop has kind of done that. I think it's just slacked off intermittently over the couple of years. I mean, it's just like I'm like watching that movie Singles, and Matt Dillon's talking about, oh, where are the Led Zeppelins of our youth gone, or the Kingdom? Well, where the hell is our Big Daddy Kane's and everyone else gone? You know, we don't have that for that generation. No, there are no competitive fire.
Jason, go ahead first, Jason.
I think we have a lot of spitters out there. I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. You don't have to rely on radio.
Name some of them. Who you like out there?
Well, from New York?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Bronson. I like Dizza.
Action Bronson.
I like Troy Ave. I like French. I'm from the X. I like the ASAP crew. I mean, I like Homeboy Sandman even. You know, a lot of people don't give Sandman his credit, but he can spit. You know, and so that's the thing. Like, hip hop has gone into so much of a pop lane. Like, the club music is just that. It's become popular music. What Maino was talking about is that listening music. There's times, I want to party, and it's Friday night, I'm getting ready to go out, do whatever. I put on certain music, but if I'm on the train coming back from a long day at work, maybe I want something a little bit more mellow. And people have kind of lost that balance and forgotten about the divide that, you know, there's actually some music that you just want to listen to, you know, and not just, it's not a party 24/7. And I think that's what we've lost grasp of.
What you think, Combat?
Well, I was going to say, man, we definitely can't completely shit on this new generation because there are cats that are pushing the envelope.
I think Black Combat, you know, lay some names.
Like this cat that I've been following for the past 3 years, and he got a deal, but he hasn't blown yet. Is Dime a Dozen? I don't know if y'all are up on Dime.
Dime a Dozen's good.
Dime fits into that category of somebody back in the day who would have had his lane a lot wider. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a confluence of things. It's whether the record labels are going to push him right now. It's whether the radio stations are going to push him. It's whether the DJs are going to play somebody like him. I mean, I think Action Bronson was in the same position. Like, Action was bubbling 3 or 4 years ago. I think he has the advantage of being white, and now his management company is a monster, so he's definitely going to get that push. But there's a lot of cats out here that's making music, or at least that's standing out. I was fucking heavy with Mr. Motherfucking X-Squad. You know, he had his image and the whole nine. He gotta wait up on his music right now. He gotta improve his music right now. But there's cats out here that's trying to push the envelope, and I don't think we're necessarily nurturing that environment for them.
Yeah, Preezy, you like anybody out here?
Me, right now, I'm feeling I like Matthew Ragazzino. He can spit. I think he's like bringing that classic sound, but he's like not like just riding that. Like, he does innovative stuff. He tries stuff. He does stuff that's racist. I like the boy Denzel Porter from the Bronx.
Oh yeah,
he's alright. Messing with him. Bronson. Bronson. Nah. You know, like I'm kind of also impressed. You know, because the past generation, like, people just made timeless music. I just think, like, at the end of the day, that it just comes down to like making music. People want to chase radio and chase hits, make money. That's cool on one hand. But, you know, like, back in the days, like, I hate to keep saying that, but, like, people focus on the art even before, like, radio. People was making pure music. That's like Kendrick. He ain't come out with just, like, a radio hit, you know? Like the West was there, even better than the East, you know. No disrespect to them, but they was kind of, you know, underwater. And Kendrick was like, all right, I'm going to just make my music. The whole TDE, they did their thing, you know? So, in the end, good music wins. And I think that New York just got to do New York. Basically, we just need to come together.
Like, even being from the West Coast, like you said, when you heard the Control thing, you know, we also feel like, you know, that we built this little thing called lyricism, like that whole the MC power of words. We feel like with that traditional sense of it. So in many ways, like, Kendrick's bars are inspiring the way, you know, Biggie or those type of the lyricists, the Nas, the Jay-Z, the Breaded. Like, so there's still kind of a connection lineage. Like, is it just now that people don't view hip hop in a regional way? So in certain ways, if Kendrick's tearing down a cipher or Eminem's tearing down a cipher, isn't there still, like, that to us is the essence of New York and some stuff with the lyricism?
Listen, lyricism is a gift and a curse in New York, man.
It is a gift and a curse. For
you know, it's that lyrical miracle, man. Cats don't want to hear that no more. Cats want to hear the songs.
Depending on.
They want to hear with Kendrick though. Kendrick's galvanized.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I'm talking more about New York. New York has that stigma of being lyrical miracle. So when you have a cat that's
good lyrical miracle and bad lyrical miracle, like,
yeah, but still, even the good lyrical gets mixed up with the bad lyrical, because here go this nigga with the bad breath spitting in my ear again. You know what I'm saying? We got that stigma. You know what I'm saying? I got bars, and motherfuckers are not making songs. This is the music industry.
Where's the hook?
Hear good songs. At the end of the day, if you hear a good song from a cat that can't rap, that cat might win. Because it comes down to the songs.
Right. He said it. That's what it comes down to. Because
Trinidad James, what up?
This is crazy. It's still a business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it definitely comes down into making dope music. Yep. I'm just saying, whatever. My whole thing is, for us as a city, needing to more support each other a lot more and stop finding excuses not to support each other. You understand? Stop being so critical. And I'm talking about for the people that's eligible. This is not for every cat to be running up to every DJ, like, just feeling like
don't do that. Don't do that.
We ain't talking. No. You got to put your work in. If you're eligible, I felt like I could speak. I didn't have
pay your stripes.
You know, top 20 records. You understand, the nation. So what I'm saying is that I want that relationship with my city, with my DJs. I want to be able to come to them, even if I can't deal with the rest of the world. I want to be able to at least come to them and get my love.
Yeah. And what's the reaction? Speaking of love, what has the reaction been from, like, radio people and your peer group? Like, what's been the overall reaction? Yeah.
Oh, good. It's been all good. I've got people thanking me, from radio stations thanking me, and and I've been into so many conversations with so many DJs and so many artists as of lately about the whole situation, because like I said, depending on who you're talking to, you're gonna get a variation of the whole perspective. So it's like, but unanimously, everybody felt what I was saying, because it's not to put down the city, it's to really inspire us to look in the mirror and say we could do better. You know what I'm saying? Some way, because we all got a job to do. Every record I gave out, or every record I came out with didn't make it, and every record wasn't hot. You understand? Yeah, so that's
and some you don't know how big it's gonna go. Like
somehow you don't know. So at the end of the day, but we all got a job to do, and I feel like we need to get back to doing that.
Did New York lose its spirit, like the competitive side of it?
Right,
like,
and the pride. We lost pride. It's almost not even cool to be from here.
I don't know. Well, kind of to that point, I feel like a lot of people fail to or forget sometimes that New York is a transplant city. I mean, I go to a lot of shows, and I'm one of the few New Yorkers. The fact that we even have a Google Hangout here where it's all New Yorkers, you know, there are a lot of people here that here don't know the sound, you know. So how do we get back to, like you said, cultivating from the ground up, really having those people that are natives and you know, supporting the culture, people that are coming here to perform, as well as building up the culture themselves.
What you think, Alexandra?
I agree with everything, especially with what Maino said in the last piece when it comes to just having the right people. But that's what I wanted to say. It's really about having the right people and not the political bullshit people that the media is trying to feed me. You know, like when I go there, I want to go see and really, right, there is, but just like music, it's all a transfer of energy. Any genuine person is going to catch on that. Maybe you're too naive to see it, but that's okay, because it's not my job for that. But I know when I recognize it, and I recognize that, right, if we had the right people in the place, cool. But when you start putting political motherfuckers in the place for all the wrong reasons, or just to sway a larger group of people, whatever it may be, that's where it fucks it up. Now, if we could just all continue on this movement and have more panels like this where we're able to express and talk what it really is, then we might be able to spark that brain. Or that idea that's going to change.
Isn't that what the internet is though right now? Like where cats are very honest about their opinions?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. How have you adjusted that culture, Maino, where like you can now see like you get in real time how people feel about you, or your music, you personally, is that all? I wonder does that also make it tough for artists to feel like, you know, their spirit, because now you put out a record, people gonna tell you right away if they rock with it or not. You get all that energy, good and bad, you get it all in one swoop,
all in one time. I think it's good. I think it's good because it helps you creatively. I've gotten better over the years at rapping, and it's because I wanted to. It's because I strive to be better. I got better at songwriting. I got better because I want to. I want to be here. I want to ride for my city and try to make the dopest records I can. I want to inspire niggas. I want to make you dance. I want you to feel my pain. I want to give you my life. I want to give you all those different things. So having you know, those forums and the internet and people and giving those comments, that inspires you. Yeah. It helps me.
Yeah. I mean, as we speaking of comments, I wanted to read some fan comments. Jif the Great says, the daunting task is getting people all around the country who are tuned into Clear Channel radio stations who typically play the same records to get used to that New York boom bap. So they want the New York boom bap.
Can't get it. We ain't gonna never get the time, because look, like I said, the OGs looking for that '90s rap era. These young kids, you know, screaming them Young Money letters. You can't blame them because we never carried that sound down. I had this a conversation with Buster about it. You know, I was just like, you know what I mean? We can't get back to yesterday. We can't live that over. We can't live that. We gotta adapt to today and figure out how it can work for us.
Yeah. Reggie, you were saying you ain't seen Arsenio Hall out there doing himself,
Nah, man, you know, I mean, there's a difference between old school and classic. I'm not fucking with old school, dude. Okay, I want to hear classic shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause old school means you trying to go back, and you can't go back. And it's ill, because I have music conversations with my 16-year-old son. And his whole perception is like, yo, Dad, before Kanye, all y'all did was rap about killing people. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So like that's his perception of old. My son is scared of old school. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, DMX is scary to my son. You know what I mean? It's a different time. So we got to also adapt to this. We can't go back.
Right, can't go back.
Combat's right.
there's a difference between old school and classic, dude.
Can't go back.
Yeah, Daniel, what you saying?
Combat's right. I mean, you can't go back. It's too much nostalgia. People are holding on to stuff too much a little bit. It's good. Like, don't get me wrong. We all listen to our parents' records and stuff like that. We get nostalgia. They get nostalgia. But you can't hold on too much. And for Combat, I just want to know if he thinks all about the killing was back in those days was scary. He must have been really shitting bricks if he'd ever listened to a Beatnuts record.
Nah, you know what? I mean, my son is a producer, so he definitely likes the production aspect of our era. But it's more like the content. Like, my son's never been in a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that shit sounds crazy to him when niggas is talking about I cut, not shooting.
I'll shoot your moms if I have to.
Like to him, the model MC right now is a Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a whole different generation. So when I hear cats talking about we got to bring New York back to what?
Going back onto it.
I said that before. Bring it back where?
I don't want to see no crackheads no more. I don't want to hear about people selling crack no more. People might be selling crack ain't hot no more.
No, it never was to begin with.
It was hot. It was hot.
Hey, some people, man. It was a way of life.
It was. I understand. I understand.
Open some doors. Yeah, put you in a position. We got like what, 5 minutes left or so, something like that. 8 minutes left. Okay, I wanted to start shifting more towards. Well, actually, we a couple more comments, but I definitely want to close out and get everybody's solutions, like positive. Like how do we solve the problem? You know what I mean?
But I feel like the doorway to solving this is just getting in the open, man. You know what I mean? It made me feel good when the DJ told me, "Yo, man, when I heard that record, it made me think, son." And I looked at my playlist and I said to myself, "You know what? Am I doing enough?" And he said, "You know what?" Then I started going into my New York set, and it made me feel good that I helped inspire him to do that. You understand? Yeah. So, to me, it's just about acknowledging the whole situation and just working with one another and just trying to figure out ways that we could just aid each other, because we still a hot city. We still New York. You know what I mean? So,
and these other regions ain't shitting on us. They just
nah. It ain't about them. Yeah. We love them. It ain't about them. But when I'm running around New York City with T.I. and we in a club and he telling me like, "Yo, shawty, they playing more South shit in here than I hear in the South." That bothered me. And this is a true conversation in Griffin. A few weeks ago. So that bothers me. So my whole thing is, let's put it out there. It's not about this ain't about ruffling nobody's feathers. Let's look in the mirror. Everybody's fault. My fault, your fault, everybody's fault. Let's work together. Let's figure it out. I'm sitting down with DJs all week to help. How can I help you help me? And vice versa. Promoters, club owners, everybody. It's the whole system here.
I'm gonna get everybody's thoughts. So, Preezy, before we go, what do you feel like some of the solutions to improve the state of New York hip hop?
Me personally, I just think that we need more like spots to showcase like New York hip hop. Cause it's like the hipster stuff has like kind of taken over, and like people like want to promote that stuff and shed light on that to New York. So I think that kind of like pushes New York rap to the back. Everything's a lot safer now as far as musically. So I think that like more venues need to be more supportive.
We need a new channel or something, right?
Yeah, man, a little bit. Yeah, man, but basically that's
lacks that. Like you're getting along with a lot of New York artists now, but do we lack like a spot, a regular party in New York City?
See, that's another thing. That's another thing that's different. The party scene, because the culture we adapted to strip club culture. Okay, let's keep it 100. I don't know if people notice. I'm in them streets. We have more strip clubs than anybody.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So when let me tell you a true story. When T.I. said to me, "Yo, you're playing more South songs than in the South," I said, "Welcome to the South. You in the South." And he looked at me, and I said, "Yes, we in the South, my brother. You understand? I understand it. I'm not saying nothing's wrong with it. I'm just saying we can't go back yesterday, so let's figure out how we can use this, right? We got more strip clubs than anybody now. We adapted to that culture. It is what it is. It is what it is. We don't have that. It's not a boom bap culture. You see? So let's figure out ways that we can use that and help each other. You understand? I got a song right now. I've been working for 3 months with me, Trina, and Yo Gotti. It's not a New York sounding record, but it works in the clubs. You see? So let's figure these things out because it is what it. That's not gonna change.
But if that record does well, it puts you, a New York artist, into a higher level, you know.
No matter what the sound is. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Combat. What are some of your solutions for improving the state of New York City hip hop?
Man, I just think you got to listen to the kids, man. The kids are out here being really creative, and we just got to listen to them. I mean, we all named a couple of new acts coming up from New York that we fuck with. It's just a matter of supporting them and pushing them more, and putting them in the tweets and in our blogs and trying to push them on radio and at the forefront. There's a lot of talent out here, man. We're just sleeping on it.
Jason, what you think?
It's definitely a difficult question when I ask myself on a regular basis. I really think what it comes down to is New York has to care about New York, and right now we don't. We just kind of...
It's our own problem.
It is our own problem, and we're just comfortable with the status quo. We're comfortable being followers instead of leaders, and it's really just, taking a look in the mirror and saying, all right, how can I make the best possible music? How can I make the music that will resonate across, the largest spectrum? And really, like Jack was saying also, listening to the youth. Not being stuck in our past ways, but trying to see, like, all right, how can we all move forward together? True. Don't know what the exact solution is for that, but I believe it is a collective, as Maino stated.
Cool. What you think, Daniel?
Oh, man, I couldn't agree more with the panelists here, my fellow panelists. More so, we can't keep, again, holding on too much to the past. I feel like, remember when Rick Pitino had that press conference and he told everybody, Bird and Parrish and McHale aren't coming back? Well, you know what? God bless them, and God, we all miss Big L, Big Pun, Biggie, Pac. They're not coming back. They're not going to come back. I think people hold on too much to that a little bit. It's good. It's good we have this good thing with nostalgia. But, like Combat said, there's a lot of artists that, we can mess with, and support, like a French Montana, like a Maino right in front of us, or like an Aesop Rocky. I'll give you
40 people.
Right,
40
right.
People.
I'll give you one further. One upstate New York guy named Upgrade, this short little Jewish kid who's open for Mac Miller in Saigon. He's phenomenal.
Upgrade? Okay.
Yeah, you could support people like that. And it doesn't go with, whether it's black, white, or whatever. It's just, if you're good and you're from New York, just fucking support. That's it. Simple as that.
No, and support is key. There's a lot of talk.
It is. A lot of push. Definitely. Push everything,
Alexandra, let me get your final thoughts on solutions. She there? Alexandra?
She's sitting there smiling.
My turn?
Yes.
My Wi-Fi is so in and out.
Oh, you closing this out now. You closing this out. It's all you. What are your solutions?
I definitely agree with the rest of my panel of all of us continuing to be open-minded and continuing to support, authentic artists that are coming from New York. But also, let's not forget, New York is the shit because we're responsible for breaking out other artists, regardless of whether or not they're from New York. So as long as we continue doing that as well and supporting the artists that are coming from Chicago and that are coming from LA, then I think we should be good mixing it in with all that.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it, man. Everybody coming doing this panel.
Yo.
Maino, man, what's going on? So what should they look out for? So they should download this song if they haven't heard it already.
They should. They should
sit with that.
Sit with that, you know what I mean? And like I said, that's just me expressing myself. Jada on there talking. That's hip hop right there. You know what I mean? Challenging, not doing what everybody else is doing, saying what's on my mind, challenging the game to do better, trying to inspire these niggas.
Who did the beat on that, George?
Some niggas. Nah, I'm saying. What's the too much?
Young producer.
Young producers, man. Yeah. Like me. Like I fuck with whoever is hot, man. Shout out to Sarah J because she sent me the beat. And just get to making dope music, man. I got another coming. Let's just make dope music. Let's just put out see what music is like this. You may not like Maino, but you may like the song, but you may like different things. It's like some people like Nike, some people like Reeboks. Fuck with what you fuck with, but at the end of the day, if it's good, it's good. Let's support. Let's get behind it. Let's break records. Let's get back to breaking records and turning and making stars. Somebody said earlier we don't have no more stars.
No more stars, man.
We got to look at our New York artists in that light.
Yeah, like listen. I've been in the clubs before and they just say, "Oh, that's just Maino." You hear all the time. It ain't special.
You smack him? Did you smack him, Maino?
We ain't doing no more. You know what I mean? It's not special because if somebody broke it to me, a DJ called me the other day and told me why. He said he was honest. He said, "Listen, we overuse you, We overuse dudes like you, Jada Kiss, Fabulous, you know, Red Cafe. We have y'all come to the clubs because the promoters say, okay, we want to book you in the club. Who can you bring? Oh, I'm calling my man up. I'm gonna call who I can call up because I can't get Wayne on the phone. I can't get Drake on the phone, and plus these dudes cost too much. So I'm gonna call Maino. I'm gonna call Kiss. I'm gonna call Fab. Come to the club. So now when it's time to flip that around and get some money out of it, why would I pay this? Why would I pay this amount of money to have Maino come to my club when he was there last week for free? So we want to go because we're trying to support our record,
Of course.
and we want to support the DJ because we want the DJ to play our record.
Exactly.
You see, so it's like, damn if we do, damn if we don't. You know, so all these things need to be talked about. I just want to put it on the table, man. I ain't mean to be the Huey P. Newton of this shit. Shit, man.
You always start it up, man. You always start it up, man.
I can't help it, man. I got a big mouth, man. I can't help it, man. I can't even help it, man.
Nah, but it's been a topic that's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it. The bottom line is that it's a dope record.
Thank you, man.
And that adds on to it. And I think we got some great thoughts. And I think it's about that competitive spirit.
Yeah.
And just stop, getting tired of talking about the problem. Let's talk about solutions.
Exactly.
And go with it, man.
Exactly.
I think if we put that work in, then we'll feel more comfortable with our place in the overall state of the game.
And from an artist's perspective, it inspires me to make better records, man. Like when I go to the studio, then I want to make the biggest, like the dopest records that I can make. You know what I mean? Because I want to be able to come to you and say, here.
This is the one.
And I want you to have that pride and say, that's the shit.
Maino did it.
You know what I mean? Because we got to get back on our shit. Because nobody is in these other places is like, man, I can't wait to play the hottest New York record. The DJ in Atlanta is not saying, I want to play the hottest New York record, okay? Yeah. But we saying, I want to play the hottest record that's popping in Atlanta. I don't have a problem with playing these records, but let's play ours too.
Thank you, Maino. Yes,
Thank you, Maino.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Maino.
So much, man. I appreciate the panel.
Thank you, Alexandria.
All right, take it easy, folks. Word.
Everybody watching, man. Listen, man.
Yo, Elliott, I'm going to see you soon, man.
Yes, sir. Tonight.
Peace. Peace.
Truth. Okay, that's interesting. We're gonna get back to that. So you're saying like the era, those classic eras, man. We had a Rockefeller era, we had a G-Unit era, a Dipset era, Murder Inc. era. So maybe that once those heavyweight movements died down, it hasn't really stepped back where it needs to be. Rough Riders, definitely. We got the gentleman everybody knows, man. Combat Jack has blessed us with his presence. Jack,
yo, what's up, man? What's happening, Elliott? How y'all feeling, man?
Good, man.
Yo, what's up, Maino?
That's my guy. What's up, boy?
The fight is fixed, man.
Yeah. Right.
Give us a little bit of your opening thoughts about the whole situation in the state of New York City hip hop.
You know, man, I mean, you got to look at the times. And
with the Yankee hat on.
That's right. I had to represent Brooklyn in the building. You know, I'm going to let y'all know I'm real impartial. I mean, I'm very partial. I'm sorry, I'm partial, man. The best. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, the best MCs on this planet, man, in Brooklyn, New York.
That's he's hurting my Queen's heart. He's hurting my Queen's heart.
So,
Queen's heart, man.
But you got to look at the terrain, man, and the terrain in which hip hop was birthed in New York, as well as some of the greatest periods. It was a different time, man. It was like economically it was different, socially it was different. I just read this amazing article by David Byrne of the Talking Heads about how he just left New York because he felt that New York right now is a playground for the 1%. And when you have this playground where the wealthy thrive and there's not that much struggle like we know it, it sucks the creativity out of the environment. So instead of being on this continued fertile ground that creates new types of creativity, I think New York is trying to bring itself back on the soil that doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't mean to get too esoteric, but it's just different. It's just a different place, man. Back then, man, you could walk in the streets of the Village, or 42nd Street or Uptown, and just see creativity. But right now, man,
Radar, this is the truth, baby, live. You know how we do it, Google Hangout. We're talking about today's topic is going to be about that New York City hip hop, the state of New York City hip hop. New York, we birthed this little thing called hip hop. Over the years, there's been a lot of discussion about our place in the game. Are we still defining the culture? Are we still the driving force of culture? And if we're not, why aren't we anymore? Like, is it fulfilling enough? Is our space in the game where it needs to be? An artist named Maino just dropped a controversial record called What Happened for Jada Kiss. He's going to join us right now. I think he's coming in. Maino doing the entrance all smooth. B-boyed out. You live, my G. What's good, baby? You good?
What's going on, baby?
Shaking things up like you always do, Maino.
Yeah, we getting to it.
What's up, Maino?
Good to have you, brother.
What's going on?
I just was introing everybody, just letting them know what we talking about, the New York hip-hop scene. The song you put out, What Happened? Shaking the game
What's
up.
that Combat Jack?
You and Jack.
Yeah, what up? Salute.
Let's actually introduce everybody, man. We're going to talk about, Maino's here to talk about his record. He's here to observe what you guys have to say also about the state of New York hip-hop. You know, we're looking for the solutions, the problems, answers, the questions, the answers, everything. Tell him, Maino.
And none of y'all do not piss Elliott off.
Nah, man. I'm a good dude. I'm a nice guy, man. I'm like you. I wear glasses now. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, we nice.
We're nice now, man. You know, it's from another era. So, Alexandra, you're here, right? Alexandra, can you hear me? She now on? Alexandra. Okay, let's skip her.
She just smiled.
Daniel there.
I'm here.
Daniel, tell a little bit about yourself, man. Where you from?
I am from the Bronx and the Upper West Side. I am a New Yorker through and through, and I am a journalist, entertainment reporter for Examiner.com. I cover anything from hip-hop to recently New York Comic Con 2013. So that's my take.
You the native New Yorker like myself. Like,
it's more like commerce. You know what I mean?
you're saying the music's almost reflected by how the culture of New York has changed through the years.
Or that and the culture, the hip-hop culture, hasn't necessarily adapted to the background that is New York right now.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let's introduce the final person. Preezy. Preezy, can you hear us?
Yeah, what's up?
What's up, homie? Introduce yourself real quick and give me your opening thoughts on the state of New York City hip hop.
Yo, what's up, people? I'm Breezy the Kid.
Yeah.
I'm a writer for Smoking Section.
Okay.
And my overall thoughts is that like cats are just lost. It's like all around, from like the top to the bottom. You know, similar to what Maino said on the record. That's a hot record, by the way. But you know, cats is just lost. I'll get more into it as the discussion goes on. But I just think, you know, from the top to the bottom, cats lost their way. You know, and there's a lot of fuckery going on. That just is what it is, you know. So we'll get into that later.
You're not happy, brother. You're not happy at all.
Nah, you know, it's just, you know, it's like bright spots, but you know, overall, nah.
Okay. Well, obviously that's a great segue to you, man. You seem like you're not happy. For people that haven't really fully dissected the record, like, talk about making that record with Jadakiss. What happened, and like, what was your motivation? You obviously wanted to spark dialogue. Like, how did it come together?
You know, a lot of it had to do with after the whole Control verse with Kendrick. And I'm gonna be honest, like when that happened, I kind of almost was like, that's good. That's good that happened. That's good for us. Because I felt like it wasn't so much about what Kendrick said for me. It was about what made him be able to say that. Why was he so comfortable saying it?
Comfortable.
I felt like we needed to look in the mirror as a city and try to understand why dudes feel like
you know, too, right?
Yes.
What's your overall, you know, give a quick little introduction. What's your overall thoughts of the state of New York City hip hop right now?
Oh wow! Believe it or not, look at me. You would say I'm not of that age of the golden era that I grew up on, but I did. And you know how I feel is, I mean, some things are a little overly romanticized, and I want to get that point to Maino. Does he feel that some things are overly romanticized? Because I think people hold on a little too much into the past of what hip hop was before, and it's nothing wrong with reflecting on what's the past. I'm a big, you know, Run DMC, Diamond D head. You name it, you throw the name out. I'm pretty much a fan of it. To me, there's always gonna be good music and bad music, good hip hop or bad rap or good rap. You know, right now there's only, like, to me, a handful of good rappers. One of them is sitting right in the screen in front of me. You got guys like Macklemore, you guys got like Blue Scholars and stuff like that, but that's a whole another section of the country. As far as New York, I just think, yeah, a little bit, New York is a little bit slacking. It is, in a way. They're not, something's missing, and we got to find out what it is. Okay. I guess that's why we're here.
Yes, we're going to do it, man. Jason Rollins, you here?
Yes, I am. How's it going, Elliott?
I'm good, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Introduce yourself real quick and give me your feelings on the state of New York City hip hop.
All right, my name is Jason. I'm from the Bronx originally, live in Harlem now. My shirt says Brooklyn in Russian, repping the Mets. So yeah, I'm a New York City kid, born and raised.
All right.
what I feel about hip hop. Well, real quick, also I'm a recent MBA graduate, trying to make a transition into marketing and branding. So I'm really trying to up my social media game right now and get involved in that. But
making the right move right now, baby.
I know, I'm trying. I feel like I'm in a good space right now. But I feel like the innate issue with the city itself is that everybody's selling something in New York, and all the buyers claim that they could get a better deal elsewhere, right? So it's really hard in New York in general, considering that there's so many people that are, like I said, there's a lot of people pushing, but there's nobody buying. And on top of that, it's not that the music isn't hot, but I feel like a lot of the music that's being made is more so talking to my generation, my era from like the mid-'90s. And there's nothing bad with that, but that group doesn't have the marketing power, doesn't have the buying power to dictate where the music goes. So I think it's really a matter of not necessarily making music that sounds like everything else, but really making music that, has some heart in it, has some message behind it. I know, Maino, you're a big person in terms of messaging in your music, but really, New York getting back to supporting itself, radio supporting artists. My brother lived in Atlanta for a couple of years, and he was telling me all about Future, Cash Out, all these people before, we heard about them up here. But, we don't have that outlet, it seems like, in New York for artists to really express themselves. And the people don't really want to support it. They just want to be spoon-fed things nowadays. So that's kind of it.
I hear you, man. Everybody's passionate. Alexandra, do we finally got you? Can you hear us?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. Introduce yourself real quick and give me your opening thoughts about the state of New York City hip-hop.
Hey, you guys. It's Alexandra Estevez reporting to you live and direct from...
You're outdoors now. You got to...
Fuck
that behind the desk outside.
So jumping right into the subject, I think that a lot of people make the same valid points, which we keep hearing. But what I don't hear enough of people saying is that we're still in a recovery stage as far as New York. We're still in a stage where people haven't forgotten the shit that went down with Dame Dash and Jay-Z. People haven't forgotten that Dipset is no longer a crew. So when you come from a place like New York City, where your creativity is not even nurtured in a right way, I think really that's what's missing in hip-hop and in the state in general.